Derrick Henry and Lamar are looking to keep their momentum going. Here's their numbers through their last 5 games. Lamar started a little slow. He did last year too. But these last 5 games, Drew, cooking. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry, who some people thought was washed, he didn't do very well.
Nobody said he was washed.
You just didn't use the word.
No,
you thought he'd be a little better.
I wasn't even talking about you. Told
what
me.
they
I said they had the #1 rushing attack in the league last year. They didn't need a running back. He's obviously helped. I didn't call him washed.
I didn't say you called him washed. I said some people.
Go ahead. Now we're even for me. What I said to you during the Yankee highlight. You were so fine. I didn't call him washed.
Who's more likely to have an MVP performance, Lamar or Derrick Henry?
This is a tough one because Lamar struggles, I guess is the right word, struggles against Cleveland. They may beat them, but last time they played Cleveland, they lost. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. In his last 5 games against Cleveland, he's had 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Passing, I don't have the rushing numbers there. I do think, though, he's going, even if he doesn't throw it that well or have that, great numbers throwing it, I think like Jaden Daniels did against Cleveland, Daniels ran for like 80-something yards. He'll be able to get out and run. But just because of the history, I'm going to say Derrick Henry. I mean, I'm wondering, can Henry break another 60-yarder? Like, is he going to do that every game? Like, I don't know. He won't, but that's generally where he gets most of his yards. Like, he'll have the little 2-3-yard runs, maybe lose a yard or whatever, and then break one in the third quarter or something. So I don't know that he can do that again, but I will just go with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lamar. I love how Rashad Bateman is becoming a huge part of their offense, a down-the-field threat. A lot of attention was going to Zay Flowers, rightfully so, and obviously Mark Andrews is starting to become more impactful like he was early in his career as Lamar's security blanket, and obviously we know what Likely does. But because of the presence of Derrick Henry, just with Derrick Henry being on the field, it opens things up for Lamar because you have to assume if you hand the ball off, the linebackers are going to step up. Play action is always available for them. And so for me, this is Lamar Jackson all day.
I'm going to go with, I don't know if it's allowed as an answer, Wilds.
Oh,
Neither
off the board?
Neither one of them.
Jameis?
Yeah, well, I just think I think you're going to get a better Browns performance this week than expected. I don't think the Browns will win, but I think this will be a close game, and I think the Browns' entire team is a little rejuvenated by Deshaun Watson no longer being their quarterback. And so this is a game that I think could be more of an old-school AFC North style, lower-scoring game where neither like Derrick Henry falls off the break Eric Dickerson's record pace, and Lamar doesn't have – his stats have been unbelievable this year, particularly compared to last year, doesn't continue this trend of the last 5 games. Again, I think Baltimore wins the game, but I don't think this is a 100-yard rush game for Derrick, and I don't think it's a 300-yard pass game for Lamar. They both obviously still can win MVP, and Lamar should be the favorite for it right now. I just don't think this is the week.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry really has one path. I think if he comes short of that record,
he's going to have to break the record.
Or get very, very
I think if he gets to 2,000, he could. Yeah, I think if he gets to 2,000.
He's a free agent this offseason, and most teams just sat on their hands and said, we're good. Well, fast forward to week 8, and Lamar Jackson is talking about him breaking the all-time rushing record. Take a listen.
It's there. Like, I feel like he has a great chance of achieving that. I think he can do it.
Okay, Brew, here's the numbers. So he's on pace to break Eric Dickerson's record if he can keep up this, pace of running. So, are you buying that he can break the record? What's this?
There might be 2 records broken this season. The rushing record. And how many times can I be right this season about running backs?
That's true.
Tony Pollard, they die for him in Dallas right now.
I didn't know you were going to Tony Pollard stuff.
Saquon Barkley balling out in Philadelphia.
2 for 2.
And Derrick Henry.
So we're not, Brew, so we're not even, let me just hit it then, because we're clearly not even doing this to talk about Derrick Henry. We're just doing a Nick Wright version of the Trevor Trash Show.
What is this? Nick knew this was coming.
Trying to do. You guys, the whole reason this is in the show is because you guys are trying to make fun of me because I don't tend to believe in old running backs.
Yeah.
And this appears to be the year
Yeah.
of the old running backs. So
Dominating.
go ahead. Greg, you see my fastidious prep? Here's what it says under the Derrick Henry thing. Har, 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 mock Nick. That's all I've written down.
Wiles
so go
put
ahead.
me up to that. Wiles put me up to that, fed me lines and everything. So
Exactly.
I actually think it is a really good, serious discussion. I think my fear, but I feel like the thing that could hold him back is he may not get enough carries. Like, he's only averaging 19 carries a game. He's only on pace for 325 carries. Everybody on that list, everybody that's run for 2,000 yards a year has gone at least 330 carries. Now, if he averages 6.5 yards a game the rest of the season, which, you got to worry about Lamar and they got a passing game, so maybe. But it's hard for me to think he's going to average 6.5 yards a carry this year if he has to keep breaking these long runs, because obviously he has some 2-yard, 3-yard runs too. So I would say probably not. I think he can get close to 2,000, but I just don't know if they're going to give it to him enough to have enough carries.
I actually think he can get it done. If Lamar in the passing game continues to play at the level that they're playing, he doesn't need all those carries because he's going to break those long runs. And then once the weather shifts, I just don't believe that they're going to be dropping back, throwing the ball all around the way that they are right now. They're going to probably lean more into being more Derrick Henry-centric in allowing their running game to be established earlier rather than after the passing game.
Do you think they'll be – I wonder, too, are they going to give it to him that much because they want to save it for
that was going to be my answer. The Ravens fans shouldn't want him to. He already has a 2,000-yard season.
Right. Yeah.
And if he beats it by 15 yards, I won't be one of those people. But do you know what you're going to start hearing a bunch of? It was a 16-game season. Now it's a 17-game season. And people will be like, well, OJ did it in 14 games. And then we just do this whole thing. So it's not even like this is a really – obviously, it's an important record.
He might win MVP if he broke it.
Correct. But I just think –
that would be interesting.
Yes, but I just think – for the Ravens, I think the Ravens hope to be in a position where they can sit him for a game or two. Not consecutively, but you know what I mean?
4-time All-Pro who has been hampered this year by knee injury, and Will Levis, joins the Chiefs for a 5th-round pick. Here's D-Hop's numbers with the Titans. 8 total touchdowns. This year, only 1. Nick, your reaction to the new addition?
Well, listen, my reaction is this is why Brett Veach is the best GM in football, and this is why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Because while the rest of the league can overpay for guys of a similar caliber, and while NFL media can talk about Cooper Kupp can be had for the low price of a 2nd-round pick, and he'll throw in his multiple ankle surgeries to go along with it. And Cooper Kupp's a great player who, unfortunately, you know what I mean, his body has betrayed him in a serious way the last few years. The Chiefs say, nah, we'll give you a 5th. Well, let's be honest, it'll be a 4th because the condition is make the Super Bowl, and we're going to do that for a guy who will just seamlessly fit into the role Rashee Rice was doing. You guys know I don't like older receivers, and I certainly don't like expensive.
31,
exactly.
31 he's 32.
He's 32, and he's 32. He's the same draft class as Travis Kelce, but he's going to be making no money. It's a dozen game plus the Super Bowl run, so call it a 15-game commitment, and we know exactly what DeAndre is going to be doing. And it is because they don't panic and because they address a need without mortgaging the future that they can have the youngest defense in football also be the best defense in football. And listen, Brew, the Chiefs have a pretty good thing going, which is every year they scan the landscape and they say, hey, is there a wide receiver out there that is with a terrible organization with no quarterback? Would you like to come here for pennies on the dollar? And you know what we'll throw in? You get to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl and break a Super Bowl record. And 2 years ago, they scanned the landscape and said, Kadarius Toney, come on down. And he did. And he has the record for longest punt return in Super Bowl history and scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And last year, they scanned the landscape and they said, old friend McCole Hardman, Are you wallowing away with the New York Jets? Why don't you come on down? And he did, and in the Super Bowl, he scored a touchdown and has the record for the only overtime touchdown in Super Bowl history. So this year, it'll be DeAndre Hopkins, who will, as a cherry on top of a Hall of Fame career, will get to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, win a championship, and the Chiefs will give up the 124th pick of the draft for the pleasure of it. That's what it is.
Well, look, Brett Veach is great, obviously, but you left out a few names. The defense obviously is great. Andy